All right, looks like we are live. Today we're going to talk about how you can go full-time and quit your job to be a full-time reseller on Amazon. This would work also on eBay and probably a lot of other ways, but specifically we're going to talk about Amazon today. So if you guys have any questions about that, let me know. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So it all comes down to finding stuff at a discounted price to be able to sell at a higher price to make profit on a consistent basis. That's the foundation of what you're going to have to do on a very consistent basis in order to go full time. We got a couple people in the chat right here. We have RW. Hey, Seth, good to see you. Good to have you on, RW. We got Entreprenego from Hawaii, I think still, right? Good to see you, Josiah. We got Savvy Coder. Thank you. Good to see you, Savvy. What's good, Checkmate Flipper? Dude, things are finding some good stuff recently. I'm curious, Josiah, how have things been for you? I feel like we haven't talked as much as usual. And it would be fun to have you on the live stream, Josiah. I just haven't wanted to ask because you're in Hawaii. And I'm like, let's let him enjoy his vacation. Then we'll go live at some point. But yeah, things are good. Thursday. I took yesterday off. So back working and sourcing today. I had my virtual assistant kind of go off on a rabbit trail on some, I think she was looking into some brands for like solid state drives. And that was not the best rabbit trail. Kind of getting back to the topic, being able to like have a consistent way of finding discounted items is a game changer. And so there's 100 different ways to do it. For me, I like to find discounted items on eBay to resell back on Amazon. That's the bulk of what I do. You can also do this by buying from retail stores. You can do this by buying from retail stores online. You can do this by selling used books from libraries, thrift stores, estate sales. You can do the same locations, but sell other items like kitchen items or electronics. There's just a ton of different ways that you can go about this. And I also have my lunch as well. Josiah says, here for a while longer. Haha. I'll hit you up to stream when I'm in Alaska. Sweet. They, for those who don't know, Josiah is in Hawaii right now. They joined a family. They basically went with a family from that they just know, and they split like a really nice Airbnb, and they're staying there for a month, which is super exciting. That'll be a lot of fun for them. Let's see, where were we? Basically, there are some skills that you're going to have to learn in order to actually do this at a consistent basis. And so the skill of being able to resell full time, you're going to have the basic skills of, knowing how to make $100 online, knowing how to make $1,000 online, knowing how to do that consistently. Entrepreneurial says, got to have your accountant to check in. You got to have your accounting in check before you quit the job. Yeah, you actually have to know, like, am I actually making money? You need to know like exactly how much you're making and that you are making money. Because if you just like quit your job and then like you think you're making a certain amount, but you're actually not even making money and you can't pay yourself, then that's not going to be very sustainable. Yeah, this is a very good point. It's so much easier to go full time. Like some of these like teenagers or 20 somethings that do Amazon or eBay or whatever, that they're still living at their parents' house and they only need like $500 to $1,000 a month to live. That's so much easier to do than someone who, like has 4 kids, lives in California, and like they need $100,000 a year to live. That's so much easier. That's so much harder than when the bar is set lower for you. So if there's any way that you see like, I'm working this job right now. I really want to go full time being self-employed, trying to build out the systems to have it be more automated. If you can basically lower your the amount of money that you spend, that's going to help a lot. Kind of obvious, but like if you care enough, like you could lower your standard of living for a little while so that the priority going full time actually happens. We got Blaine in the chat. Welcome. Good to see you, Blaine. We're basically just talking about how you can actually go full time selling on Amazon, because like if you're kind of just dabbling in it, it's not really going to happen. But if you actually put your heart and soul into it and actually know your numbers and know how much you actually need to make things work, then you definitely can make it happen. I'm curious for you guys in the chat. We have RW in the chat. We have Josiah in the chat. We have Blaine in the chat. We have Savvy in the chat. As far as I know, most of you guys actually are full time. I don't know if Savvy's full time. I don't know Savvy as well. But kind of like how long have you guys been full time? And when you guys went full time, how much did you guys need to? I guess I'll ask that. How much did you guys feel like you needed to make in order to go full time? So for me, I forgot what I asked. I think I asked how long have we been full time? So I've been full time since around 2020. I was in my internship. I was studying to be a clinical mental health counselor, and I didn't really like it very much. I kind of thought like going into it, I didn't enjoy it a lot. But like really didn't enjoy it. And then everything in the world happened, and basically that was discontinued for a couple months. So I basically had nothing to do for a couple months. So I'm like, I'm going to see if going full-time works. So I really only needed to make around $2,000 a month in order to make it work. And it was gradual too, because for the first several months, I'm like, well, I was going to be going to school anyways. And so like things are fine. We got Matthew in the chat. I'm currently selling books on Amazon and I make about $2,000 profit per month. When do you recommend would be a good point to hop into OA? Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. Good to have you, Matthew Miller. Yeah, I mean, like $2,000 a month profit is a really, really good baseline, depending on, like RW is saying, how much money you need to go full time. Like that could be full time for you. So, I mean, the very basic answer to that question is like sorry, what am I saying? Basically going to thrift stores and estate sales, you're going to get to a point, and you might already be here, where you're kind of sitting on a pile of cash that you're just not able to spend on inventory. You know what I mean? Like if you have $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 that you've made from your book profits, that, it's just like money that's not working for you, that could be a good time to start dipping your toe in the water of online arbitrage. That being said, some people do get started with online arbitrage by using a little bit of credit. If you do that, you should be very careful. I would probably suggest using your own money first. But I think as soon as you have like a little extra time and money to start investing, and building that skill. The skill is the most important thing. I would start as soon as possible. I definitely did books too long. We got our W in the chat saying, I'm still part-time, have a job, but I'm working on early retirement. So I would need around 7K to make that happen now. You're $7,000 away from early retirement, or like 7,000 a month. Like, what do you mean, RW? So you would need $7,000 a month. Oh, okay. So basically you're saying early retirement would be quitting your job and making 7K a month? Or, yeah, I think I'm just confused, RW. Sorry. Matthew Malore says that's exactly where I'm at. The issue with books for me has been scaling for sure. I can only get so many books from libraries and thrift stores. Yeah. And like, on one hand, you can work on improving the way that you find books. Like, maybe you add estate sales to the mix. Maybe you talk to more managers at the libraries and thrift stores to figure out when they put the new books out. There's ways to do that better. You could do next door pickups. But you can go down that route, or you can kind of start to use online arbitrage to supplement it. So like, maybe instead of doing 2,000 in profit a month with just books, like month 3 of doing online arbitrage, you're making $3,000 profit a month because you do 2,000 books, 1,000 and 1,000 in online arbitrage. And you can slowly start to change that ratio however you want. And once you build the skills and beliefs around it. We got Blaine in the chat. Went full-time 6 years ago. Congratulations on that, Blaine. Yeah, Blaine's a pretty big seller, so like, kind of knows his stuff. Recently purchased something from me on eBay, which is funny. Starting on eBay, but went completely into Amazon 3 years ago. Had very low expenses back then and lots of credit. Yeah, that helps a lot. Because if you can get a lot of money invested into inventory, even if it's like a really low ROI, you can still end up making a full-time income, even when your ROI is really low. My timer was going off. RW is saying correct. 7K a month, I could retire and go full-time. But I'm also going to leave the USA and go to Nicaragua. So very nice income. So basically you're going to retire like a king if you do that, which will be pretty cool. RW, I'm curious about the early retirement. I'm sure you've heard of FIRE, financially independent, retire early. And the idea of that is basically that you have a certain amount of money saved and invested into either dividends or the S&P 500. And that money makes you passive income, and you can then live on that passive income. Like, has that been part of your process for trying to do early retirement? Because like in Nicaragua, I know you said that the dollar, like $1 was worth like $35 or something. And so if the dollar is worth a lot more, and let's say you need like your living expenses in Nicaragua would be like $10,000 a year or whatever, or even less, could very well be less. That could be a number that you start saving towards. But I'm going to move on. We got Matthew in the chat. Thanks for that. I completely agree. I also hurt my back recently hauling all these heavy books around. I'm back at it now. but I'd be lying if I said I'm not concerned with that happening again. Took me out for about a week, which sucks. Yeah. I think I had that happen one time. I was doing a free book pickup and I forgot my dolly, and they just put so many books in the box, and like getting it into my car was a huge hassle. So yeah, definitely a dolly helps, but also online arbitrage, you can do less of that as well, especially if you work with a prep center. I definitely love the approach, guys. If you are kind of in one business model or a type of selling, let's say you do books, but you want to get into online arbitrage, like keep doing your books, but try to also find a little profit from the business model that you're trying to transition to, and like slowly start to work your way towards um, a different ratio of what you're doing. Like for me, for example, I was doing eBay full time. I was buying used clothing and used shoes to resell on eBay. And I decided that Amazon FBA books would be a really good business model to get into. So I'd go to garage sales to find books. And that was going to be like, I was literally going to find $200 profit a week. This was during the summer. So I was just like, I'll just go garage sailing on Saturday. And like I should be able to laugh my way to $200 profit found at garage sales. And like I was finding, and I kind of had like a profit goal of what I was supposed to list every single week with eBay. And I was finding that like even in just that Saturday, I was finding a lot more than $200 profit in just books. And garage sales aren't even the best way to get stuff. So slowly starting to like work your way towards like, like I needed to list $800 a week eBay in potential profit and $200 Amazon FBA books. And then like maybe the next week you can do like $750 profit eBay, and then $250 Amazon FBA books. And you can just start working that ratio. PS, just like you described in the eBay listing, the calculator was dead, still useful for parts. That's a slept on business model, to be completely honest. Selling stuff for parts is like it's a very viable business model. Sometimes, I know I did this for a while, I would buy TI-84 calculators, like the basic ones from high school, and oftentimes you literally just had to change the batteries and they would power on. And so people would sell them for way too little, and then you just change the batteries, and then you just go ahead and resell them. So that's one way of doing it. Or you can break the item down and like have specific parts that you're looking for and sell those parts. Blaine's probably doing something else besides that, because he obviously does that business model more than I do, which is sick. RW says no outside investments anymore. That makes sense. Blaine says, at Matthew, have you checked out Romer's book business blueprint to scale with books? And real quick, RW is saying, got to run, Seth. See you on tomorrow. Good to see you, RW. I'll see you tomorrow, man. Yeah, Romer's a good person to follow. And yeah, like I think I took this course in late 2020, and like that really helped me kind of like solidify like what I'm trying to do. Although you already are doing 2K a month, which is awesome. But that definitely helped me as well. Matthew saying those things sell like crazy on eBay. I recently got 3 in an estate sale. I can't believe people are still passing those up. That, to be completely honest for you, sorry, my camera is shaking. Doing stuff like that is probably a very good transition for you, because you're already at thrift stores, you're already at estate sales, you're already at garage sales, and libraries is not really the best place. But like if you just go to the electronics section, and like look for calculators, look for kitchen items, look for stuff like that. Like maybe you scan the book section and there was like $60 there. You go to the electronic section and there's a calculator there that you can sell for $35 profit. Like that makes your sourcing a lot more efficient. So that's like I do whenever I thrift, I do very well just like going to the electronic section and just like looking stuff up. If you want to keep it simple, maybe stay away from the stuff that's like super big and bulky and looks broken. You could just sell items that are new in the package if you want to keep it really simple. That way you're just scanning barcodes. You could sell them as used like new if that makes you feel more comfortable, but that's a really good way for people who are doing books to make some additional income. There's a lot of money at the thrift stores in the kitchen electronics section. I posted on my story the other day my Capital One Spark limit, and Josiah messages me back and he's like, Dave is watching. Dave Ramsey. Good point. Not brief background to those who haven't been around as long. Last year, at the beginning of the year, I was spending a lot of my inventory on credit. I think at the max, I was around 70, 80K leveraged. Some of that was my money in the inventory, but a lot of it was just based on credit. And like, if you have any account health issues, that gets to be a very scary place, because if you get suspended, you aren't guaranteed that you're going to get your inventory back. So over the course of the year, I basically transitioned it to cash only. And Josiah is very much so cash only, but he's been doing this for a really long time. So he's very much so on the Dave Ramsey train. I am somewhat as well. But credit was really helpful to helping me build up enough money to have cash and inventory. We got Blaine in the chat. Used to buy complete DVD seasons and sell the individual discs as replacements. Triple profit with that, but a lot of work. You're right. There's money in bundling things together or breaking them down. Interesting. I feel like DVD sets like together are pretty valuable, but yeah, I mean, I guess that might be how it works. People will pay $30 for season 1, $30 for season 2, $30 for season 3, and the set's like $60 maybe. I've never thought of that. That's interesting. Like, there's literally 1,000 different ways to make money. It's kind of wild. Another thing that you can do along those lines is if there's an item that you kind of know decently well, or like take the time to learn about, like let's say it's like a fluke like clamp meter or something, and you know that they're not going to turn on if the batteries are wrong, or there's a specific way that you can fix a common problem, and you're able to recognize that, people are going to sell that for super discounted because they're like, well, it doesn't turn on. So you buy it at the discounted price, fix the problem, and then sell it as working for a lot more. I also know someone who like knew how to do that with a certain type of VCR, and he would just buy the broken ones, spend 5-10 minutes fixing it, and then he would sell it back for more money. Matthew Malore says, actually, I'm already doing that. Okay. I sell books on eBay as well, about 1,000 per month regularly. I often hit up estate sales for eBay items and books, then hit local library used sections. That makes sense. What specifically do you sell on eBay? Like a lot of those used electronics actually can be sold on Amazon, and they go for more on Amazon as well. But there's also books that don't have much value on Amazon that you can make some money on Amazon with. Blaine saying, yes, if you could fix electronics, you can make good money. Yeah, because there's some that people literally just sell for like 50%, sometimes even less, especially with the auctions. Like if they auction it off for parts, sometimes just not enough people look at it. And you can get things for really cheap. I mean, even in the example of like what you purchased from me, like that was, I feel like that sold for pretty cheap. Like usually those go for like on Amazon, if I can remember right, I think they're like anywhere between 90 and 105, but you got it for 27 just because it was for parts. On eBay, I think they're a little cheaper than the Amazon price. But yeah, fixing them is a big deal. You just have to like be aware of like, okay, like this thing, like I can fix this thing in like 2 minutes. Like that's a great thing to do. But if it is like a huge pain in the neck and it takes a long time, like obviously don't keep doing that because it's not good hourly. We got Matthew in the chat. Nothing really specific. From watching videos, I have a fair amount of knowledge on what sells for something on eBay. So I usually check the sell through rate and list it. Yeah, that makes sense. Like definitely always got to check the solds on everything. Like whether that's on Amazon by like checking the sales rank or Keepa, or the solds. One thing I didn't do enough when I sold on eBay is actually checking by checking the solds, but also filtering by I forget exactly what it is, but basically ending recently. Because like there are some things that sell a certain way 2-3 months ago that are selling very differently today. So that would have been good information to give better buying decisions doing eBay, looking at the sold comps. Blaine says, sometimes sellers let me keep broken electronics when I want to return them, but can't do anything with them. Yeah. Yeah, I actually I was selling some used electronics that I didn't want anymore. And I actually had a seller, like it was a pretty big purchase, like a couple $100, several $100. And he took a picture of a soda can, like with the box. And he's like, there was a 12-pack of soda in the box. And like, he didn't pack them well and they're broken. Like, yeah, definitely. I put a 12-pack of soda in your box in your $700 order. Yeah, of course I did. Like, I think there are some people who literally just like, they try to make an issue out of it, make you mad, and start a return, and just hope that you just say, hey, like, do you want like a couple $100 off, or like you can just keep the item. And I'm sure it works sometimes. But also it feels like you're going to hell move for being like that. It's like karma. Like when you invest and like lie about stuff and like start drama with people, that's definitely not a good way to feel good about yourself long term. But I mean, like if they're actually broken, if they're actually like if they're actually like not as described, and like they just offer a refund, sweet. Like that's helpful. That increases margins. Like I've definitely done that before. Matthew Malore says, oh, I also do DVDs on Amazon as well. Definitely wouldn't be making $2K per month in just books. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. Yeah, DVDs are good. Yeah, but it's still like with books, it's sometimes hard to find enough inventory. You know what I mean? Like books, DVDs, all that together. The DVDs does help. Returns are a nightmare on eBay, so it's annoying. Recently had a return for a brand new thermostat that the person didn't even attempt to wire it, and said it didn't work because it wasn't working. That's annoying. But also cost of doing business, but it's really annoying. I messaged eBay about it. They said that the buyer had to agree to a partial refund, even though they opened the new item. It's so annoying. Yeah, I get it. It's like easy to let returns, especially on eBay, like ruin your day. Like it's no fun at all, but just gotta keep selling stuff, hope to make more profit than the little bad things that happen. All right. Well, we've been on for around a half hour. Thank you guys for showing up and hanging out. It was good to interact and talk with you guys. I am most likely going to be live tomorrow as well. The replay is going to be on there as well. If you missed any of this live stream, the replay is also going to be on YouTube. So if you need something to listen to, if you showed up late and you want to listen to the rest of it, it is there for you. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day and take care.